Virtual reality.
Well, we all know about that. Again, I find that very interesting in that, you know, virtual reality was supposedly really going to be the big thing circa about 20 years ago now. It was about 1995, 96, 97 that people felt that was really going to take off. And then it kind of sputtered and stalled. You know, does anybody do anything in virtual reality markup language anymore? I'm not even sure that's a thing. But of course, we now have you know, massive online games and artificial worlds, which have been hugely popular. I guess in contrast to the rule that pornography necessarily leads the way, it seems like virtual reality pornography again never really took off, but virtual reality gaming turned out to be, my gosh, it's a gigantic industry now. I mean, how many people are playing World of Warcraft at any given time? Holy mackerel! It's a huge number of people.
And I mean, now we're finally getting to the point where some companies are releasing. I don't think they've actually released them commercially yet, but I can't remember all the projects that are going on. Morpheus and
the Oculus Rift.
Oculus Rift, and then you put on some glasses, more or less like what the early VR pioneers were doing, only with much better technology, much better speeds available now. You put on your glasses and you enter into a three-dimensional alternative world in which you can interact with other people, and that was the initial idea of VR. And I guess, I mean, there was a lot of theory about VR in the early and mid-90s, including people like Timothy Leary and Terence McKenna and sort of psychedelic transhumanist enthusiasts, in which it was viewed as having the potential to be a mind-expanding technology because you can experience really radically visionary worlds, and I mean, it sort of creates a new space for artistic expression at a period where all the mediums seem to have been used up, and anything anybody can think of to do has already been done. Here's this other terrain upon which people can create mind-blowing and possibly mind-expanding situations for people to get into, and that this could be an evolutionary development for human beings.
I think if anybody's interested in, if you've not tried it yet, get hold of Cardboard and download VRSE. It's called An Evolution of Verse by Chris Milk. You start to look at it. I don't want to get. It's only 3.5 minutes. If you, very good. But he's leading the way with the film side of it, I think.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
Very cool. Okay, so let's come to the last few. We did the other one, so I know Warbots. What's a Warbot?
Oh my God, there's so many of them. When we invaded Iraq during the George W. Bush administration, we weren't using any robots at all, and during that process, I can't remember the exact number, but there were thousands of robots sent to the, as they say, the theater of war. And these, at first, were not armed robots, but they were useful for going into situations where human beings wouldn't want to go, so that,
disarming bombs and that kind of.
Right. And I mean, there's just been this tremendous and frankly pretty scary evolution of robots for war. And then you can look this up online. I don't really remember the details, but there are a number of companies that are actually creating armed robots for the use of, the Pentagon, I assume maybe some other countries are doing this as well. And one of the things that I found interesting and amusing that I used in the book that actually occurred in a conversation, an interview with somebody on the H Plus website was what's the Arnold Schwarzenegger
Terminator.
Terminator. Yeah. That a whole bunch of robotic scientists are really enthusiastic about creating the Terminator, and that there were people at the Pentagon who were really saying, "Yeah,
what could go wrong?
Make us the Terminator," you know. So
Yeah.
it's interesting how people how dystopian novels and dystopian films can awaken a thirst in many inventors.
Yes, and there are also, I believe you mentioned it in the book, Northrop's X-47, which is an unmanned aircraft, which has been, doing things like taking off and landing from an aircraft carrier on its own, and doing mid-air refueling and so on. And so, many people are predicting that, the era of manned aircraft may be maybe not coming to a close, but is possibly becoming well, that they're going to be at least partially replaced. Because if you are sending an armed aircraft over heavily defended enemy territory, it's better if somebody is sitting back at headquarters in their bunker controlling it, possibly with their virtual reality equipment. And then there's just an unmanned aircraft that's out there doing the fighting.
Oh, yeah, I just want to add that if people want to view a very scary-looking Warbot, they should look up Big Dog, one word, capital B, capital D. Man, that is one scary-looking thing.
Right, so I've got to tell you both on this. So I saw Big Dog. Did you see the little brother? He's called Spot.
I don't know if I've seen that one or not.
The little one, right? And he kicked him. He was sitting around kicking the other, and he kicked him, right? So I was like, don't kick him. I've seen Terminator. Don't upset the robots. Listen, you wanna kind of roll over early on this. Be nice.
Mm-hmm.
So yes. So that's happening. That's that, and that company, Boston Dynamics, bought by Google.
Believe got bought by Google. Yes. Google. Yeah, and so the idea that in not too distant future, you'll have your special forces team of a half dozen guys followed along by a half dozen, sort of cargo pack robots trotting along behind them. That seems like it's not too far off in the future.
My comment on Google was "Don't be evil doesn't scale," which that got around.
Okay, on the next note, XPRIZE.
Yeah, this is a thing developed mainly by Peter Diamandis, who is kind of a figure within transhumanist and singularitarian thought, helped to create. Yeah, there you go. Stephen Kotler, a very good friend to us, actually, who's helped us to promote our own book. He developed the XPRIZE first to encourage people to develop space programs, and basically to offer a reward for the first company that could get, independent of NASA and government funding, could get a craft into what we officially considered space, and that contest was won, and they've created a whole bunch of other projects, including a project to create the equivalent of the tricorder, where you could, like Dr. McCoy on Star Trek, you could pass an instrument over a person's body or in a certain place and get readouts of what's wrong with the person. And a number of people have succeeded in creating sort of rudimentary versions of this, like where you can put something up to the person's forehead and get some of the basic readings that the doctors get, like blood pressure and heart rate and those kinds of things.
Great. Okay. Last one. Zero State.
Okay, Zero State is a transhumanist group, I think largely out of England. And it's sort of in opposition to big transhumanism and the kind of work that is being done by big corporations and big government and so forth. And it's while they don't embrace the term anarchist, it's based on the idea of mutual aid from, I believe it's Kropotkin.
Kropotkin was the mutual aid guy, right?
Mutual aid. I would get Kropotkin and Bakunin mixed up. If they added Nash and Young to the band, then I'd be able to remember them better. Yeah, so XPRIZE is, I'm sorry, Zero State is that's sort of an alternative-ish transhumanist group, and the fellow who formed Zero State, Eamon Twyman, I think is his name, is also forming the Transhumanist Party in England and is running for some kind of office there.
Eamon Calkin.
Eamon Calkin, thanks. Yeah.
Cool.
You know, if they had better memory drugs, I'd be able to start all this.
Well, I think we've done a brilliant talk. There's so much more to it, everybody. If you're watching this live, then check out, we're going to put the links so that you can access the book. If you're watching this in the future, then you're probably going to see that it's all going to be segments, and we'll put links to the book in the description section. But you probably won't see that because I'm saying that to the live people now. But you're going to be able to get the book, and we'll also have it on the plusyourlife.com site and go from there. That was Jay and RU. That was a wonderful tour. Thank you both. And I know that people on the thread, we've got Sheila and Peter and Jody and other people. I haven't come to your questions because they're sort of watching. They're so interesting, and they're thanking you so much. And I know I'm going to get lots of questions later on. But really, really appreciate your time now. Great to connect. And Jay and RU, wish you all the best for the book.
Oh, well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, that was fun.
Thank you both. That was a great talk.
All right.